Welcome back to Arise Prime Time, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I'm Charles Aniegolu. So, the end of an extraordinary week of political upheavals, a week in which significant opposition, PDP leaders, threw themselves out of the party and into the opposing camp of the ruling APC. There have been subsequent allegations that the APC has been making a big push into opposition territory to try to capture the political spaces that it doesn't control ahead of the next general election in 2027, hence this assault on the PDP. So, are there any efforts by the PDP to try and stop this alleged onslaught, or should we be bracing for many more PDP politicians emptying into the ruling party? If so, how much existential trouble is the PDP in? Can the party ever get its groove back? Well, for their informed assessments, I'm joined now by our guest commentators, and they are the public policy analyst and development expert, Kaka, and the legislative consultant and public policy analyst, Chibuzor. Okereke. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Let me start with you, Chibuzor. Everybody talking about the crisis in the PDP leading up to this moment, but no one quite anticipated the extent to which the PDP would be hit by this sledgehammer, with many defections and with many more reported to be imminent. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first I have to say, if you look at the PDP, they have had historical problems over the years, and particularly in the run-up to the 2015 election, where some members of the party had to stage a walkout to the G7 and other coalition, leading to a merger with APC, and upstaged the PDP, who had prophesied that they would be in power for 60 years. And it was cut short just in 16 years.
Well, they're a far cry from 60 years.
So I wasn't even surprised, because you see, after the 2023 elections, the PDP have not even had the statutory organs of the party settled, have not had their statutory meetings. They have been having one crisis, or the other. They have not even assessed why they failed, the 2023 election, and they fashioned a way forward. Unlike the effort they made after the 2015, they were a reconciliation committee, they were kind of, town hall and outreaches organized, headed by distinguished Senator Ibikunle and some other notable people. This time around, it has not been the case. They have not conducted any membership revalidation or registration or what have you. So I wasn't surprised, and I've said this off studio. You see, we must be democratic to the core. And the democratic character of any nation is such that people actually have freedom of movement and association in line with Section 40 and 41 of the Constitution, right? Even the Section 15 of our Constitution, in terms of the political aspiration of the country, encourages people to integrate, and move. Constitutionally speaking,
when you say that, I roll my eyes.
Constitutionally speaking, they may not have done anything wrong. But where the problem is in terms of ideological basis of our politics, the character of the politician.
That's the key thing. It speaks to the character.
The character, So because no one will imagine.
And it depresses us because we think, well, what's the political future of Nigeria when you got people like
I don't think we should feel depressed. Number one is that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. I gave an instance.
That's an illusion in the current circumstance.
It's not an illusion.
It is an illusion.
You know why I said this? In the 2023 election, the Labour Party candidate, Mr. P2B, won Delta State by 56% or thereabout. He defeated the incumbent president in Lagos. When the people are energized and they rise behind a vision and a purpose, the elite political alignment and realignment may not mean so much, because most of the politicians make all these moves and alignment even without, considering the people, because our idea of politics has been, parochial, it has been narrow. It doesn't, carry majority of the people along. So I'm not worried. It's wrong politically in terms of how we can build a more stable democracy where there can be ideological contestation about policy and development of the country. But where we don't have that by how people behave, we have to continue to make progress.
Well, let me come to you, Abba Kaka. How did you react to that mass defection of the entire PDP structure in Delta State to the APC, a state that was seen as quintessentially PDP? Because we're even now hearing that even James Ibori has now moved to the APC. Well, so it's a complete rout.
It's actually it's a big shocker because PDP in Delta State, as he said, has been there for over 25 years. And you see, the problem of the PDP started in 2015 when the former President Jonathan contested, even though there was a gentleman agreement not to do that because of the power sharing and rotational presidency issue. That was when the PDP lost out. And when it lost out, it never recovered. It keeps going down and down. But this Delta movement, actually there's a quiet war on democracy going on in Nigeria right now. There seems to be a deliberate attempt to dismantle opposition political parties or whatever we have left of them, the PDP, Labour Party and others. But I can see now for the PDP to, get back on track, they can invite Mr. Peter Obi to boost whatever is left of the PDP.
Well, I don't know if Peter Obi would want to.
Well, I don't know if I don't know either.
But I mean, you're right in the sense that they need people.
They need people
to
in that
give
kind
them
of
a lift at the moment. But as Chibuzor mentioned, the party has to come across as being organized.
Exactly.
You see what I mean? It comes across as being in disarray at the moment, and nobody. I mean, voters even, they don't like to see a weak party, do they?
They don't like, but the point is the leadership of the PDP itself has been compromised. The current... Allegedly compromised.
Right.
There are a lot of them working for the ruling party, and, people don't trust politicians anyway in Nigeria. And the way we are going is democracy itself is under threat, because I just can't believe that this quiet war on democracy under the current president, Tinubu, who has been known to be a Democrat, is taking place. Second, the fact that this deliberate attempt to muzzle out opposition political parties is a very, very dangerous trend into democracy. Because are we practicing democracy or we're going somewhere else? Because there's a lot of allegations that, we are moving towards one-party state. There's an allegation that the way we are moving towards like a dictatorship, and people are fed up, people are not happy, and people are supposed to express their civic responsibilities. One voter apathy. The 2027 that people are fighting for, I don't see people coming out to vote.
That's a good point. But that's way ahead. I mean, Chibuzor, let me ask you this, because he mentioned Peter Obi. I mean, the other big sort of giant in Nigerian politics, certainly in PDP politics, is Atiku Abubakar. What do you think he fits into all this? Do you see him still having a political future in the PDP, or does his stock now lie elsewhere?
I think I read a statement from...
he issued a statement today, saying it's between the Nigerian people and the APC, essentially.
And to the fact that the democratic reality of every political system is that people have right to move from one party, to another. I think that His Excellency Raja Atiku Abubakar is a statesman. He is politically sagacious, and but the role he ought to be playing now will be identifying young people with capacity, character and competence, and giving his political weight, behind them. There is this idea that you see people say, oh, the only person that can challenge President Tinubu is an Atiku. These are the kind of narrative we shouldn't be painting at this time. We should be, in search if they really want to make a difference.
So, for instance, if Atiku supports, as he hinted earlier, if Atiku suddenly said, look, I'm endorsing Peter Obi, because Peter Obi is younger, Peter Obi has the ear and the attention of a lot of the young people, and this is my way of rectifying the wreck that I put the party into in 2023 because we threw out zoning and all the rest of it. I mean, it should have gone to the south, it went back to the north and all the rest of it. You think that would make a difference?
Absolutely. In fact, I think that is what he should be thinking about doing right now and not even wait to 2027. Look, Mr. Peter Obi is one of the brightest politicians we have in Nigeria today with organic followership. I mean, people have come to identify for the first time. I woke up one morning into several WhatsApp groups. People created it, and you see them raising money to raise billboard, buying, creating souvenirs, campaigning at the grassroots. The last time we saw that was in the 1993 election of the SDP. This is so when you have that kind of belief, that means somebody has been able to energize new voters, with new vision, and this message of consumption to production is what every administration has been talking about. So to have someone that has encapsulated it in such a philosophical manner that is driving everybody with understanding that there is a movement, there is a national philosophy that connects. We've been talking about national vision, national dream. I think that particular message connected with a lot of people. And you could see somebody in first attempt doing over 6 million votes, and people are saying, oh, maybe it was a surprise. So I think he has a very important chance.
And it's very important that a lot of people of their own accord are coming out. It just underscores, whether it's Peter Obi or somebody else, it just underscores the fact that Nigerians want real governance, generally speaking. But let me come to you, Kaka. Let's return to the crisis of the PDP, for example. For those APC members, for example, in Delta State, and I mean, presumably elsewhere, because we're hearing that more people are going to be sort of jumping ship. For those APC members who were there before these people from the PDP started moving in, do you think those originals will sit back and sort of let all these people come in and take up all the candidate positions? Because a lot of these guys, I mean, state assembly, local government chairman, house, whatever, national assembly, they all want they all want to run again in 2027.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, what do you think is going to happen there with the people who were there before?
What I can see happening is a serious crisis, because those who moved, the state governor moved, the former governor and the former vice presidential candidate of the PDP moved, James Ibori moved, just to, tell you 3 major groups within Delta. So that gives you an idea of there's going to be a friction with the people they met.
They've been building the party all along.
But you see,
doing the grunt work, as they say.
Absolutely. But the point, the problem is, Mr. Charles, these defections are not being attracted by an ideology. They are not being attracted by a better service delivery to the people. It's not being attracted to come and bring some change. All these defections, when you look down deep, there's allegation of threats and corruption. There is,
but it's also personal ambition, isn't it?
Personal ambition.
That's what essentially drives.
Exactly. So that is that movement. We keep on going back and forth.
Right.
Is where is the common good?
Okay. Well, talking about personal ambition, I'm going to switch gears slightly because Nyesom Wike was speaking in Rivers State earlier in the day today. He was giving conditions for peace in Rivers State. He appeared at the 70th birthday celebration of somebody in Rivers State. He said that for there to be peace, there had to be total peace, not peace to gain time to further consolidate oneself, which essentially is a reference to, Mr. Fubara, who's the governor who's been suspended. Beyond the fact that what he said didn't appear to make a lot of sense. I mean, he was talking generally, the expectation was that he was going to actually say something more than that. Nevertheless, does it suggest to you that Mr. Wike is perhaps more willing to talk peace now?
Absolutely. I think he said that in the media chat he had. He mentioned that he's ready to make peace, and he also referenced the fact that most of the elders who have been talking about peace never really made effort to reach out to him, about peace. So I think that he also mentioned that he really wanted the State Assembly to make an impeachment and removal move on the governor, but the president intervened.
Right.
And even though he intervened unconstitutionally to remove the governor from office. However, what is more critical is how we are discussing in a democratic setting where the sovereignty of everything belongs to the people, and we are focusing on just a few individuals and their interests and how that impacts on the whole.
It's extraordinary, isn't it?
And this is why
it really is extraordinary.
The Nigerian people can no longer afford to sit on the fence.
Yeah.
This is an information age. Political literacy is very key.
Indeed.
Active political participation is very central. Whatever profession you belong to, you have to now use the Rivers example and other examples to understand the need for people to take their own destinies in their hands.
Absolutely.
And, whether it is Fubra or Wike or whatever, the people must be the centerpiece of policy and development. And the people should not ever think that there are certain group of people in the name of political platform fighting for their welfare without their involvement. As we say in our comradeship sector, anything for us without us is against us. You can't sit on the defense and leave your destiny in the hands of a few people.
Very good point, and that's a very important point. And as he was saying, Kaka, Mr. Wike said that elders in Rivers State had not made any moves to effect reconciliation. He said television appearances talking about peace. That, I mean, that's not, what difference, how is that going to advance peace? I mean, he has a point to some extent, but on the other hand, you also need to educate and enlighten people and hear. The people have a right to hear from the people in the state about how they're thinking about these things. But people are still wondering, Mr. Kaka, what the violence was that led to this declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State, beyond the lingering question about where the authority to suspend the governor came from.
Well, we have not seen it, you see. The issue is everybody is asking, what is the reason behind, apart from the fight between Wike and the governor and 2027? Apart from that, we have not seen a threat to national security that will warrant a declaration of state of emergency. Look at what is happening in Plateau, Benue, Katsina, and other states. Borno State. For the past 12 years. But the governor of Borno State has been on top of things, and he has been prompt on calling on security agencies to come out. Because when the Boko Haram resurgence came up a couple of weeks ago, he called it as it is.
Yeah, but to be fair, the Rivers State governor, when he was in office, I mean, he repeatedly kept telling people to calm down.
Calm down, exactly. Yeah. He saw the storm coming. You understand? But the point is, as he said, our democracy is being fondled by a couple of people. Maybe the reason why the Minister of FCT is looking for peace now is probably the former governor or suspended governor. Met the
he had a meeting with the president in London.
The president probably now realized from the commotion going on that maybe it was even a mistake to have declared the state of emergency. Maybe he was misled by people like Wike and others. So obviously he's going to be looking for peace now because Fubra is also doing his own bidding. But the point of saying Rivers elders did not seek for peace is not true. They have in different forums, they met the president, they met different groups, they have been coming down, threats of violence to all installations and economic survival of River State for quite some time.
They're probably frustrated with Mr. Wike.
They have to.
because
Exactly.
because here they were making moves towards peace, and then from nowhere you suddenly declare a state of emergency.
Exactly.
But look, we've got a couple of minutes left, and there is a lot of talk, Chibuzor, of sort of grapevine talk that for the situation in River State to stabilize, Governor Fubara would need to move to the APC and is in fact poised to defect to the APC. What do you think of that talk?
Look, the declaration of the state of emergency, removal of the governor is already a huge injury on our democratic experience.
Exactly.
The precedent that has been set by this is going to be more even injurious in the future. Because you see, we live in a democratic system where the institutions are weak. Therefore, the character of the individuals become the character of the institution. You get a president tomorrow that only an insult from a governor could lead to suspension because he's going to reference what has been done. And this is the danger, no matter how the president have appraised the situation.
Because he set a precedent.
He set a precedent, and people reference.
And it's a precedent that has been endorsed by the National Assembly.
And people are going to reference this in the future. So we have to be very careful. So asking that the Governor Fubra to move to APC to me is absolutely unnecessary.
Right.
I know this notion about North and South. Oh, some people in the North are ganging up to make sure that the president doesn't get a second term. Therefore, everybody in the South, it's time to unite. After all, some Northern G7 people did it in 2013, leading to 2015 election. That is the whole crux about what is going on now. How can this South be reinforced and re-energized to make sure that nobody from the North upstage them?
Right.
This is some of the underpinning factors that are pushing people to give the president support. That's a fact.
Yeah, that will be a discussion for another day. But I want to thank you very much indeed. Chibuzor Okereke is a legislative consultant, public policy analyst, and Kaka is also a public policy analyst and a development expert. Both of you, thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again next week. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye, and thank you for watching.